Hey guys, so I've made a new account. I've called it 10 points. And so we're gonna play a little bit with a theme, and I'll explain that in a moment. Let me just get a few more moves here. Let's go ahead and split this to prevent Moyo, because that's gonna add to the simplicity for us, not having to make weak groups with invasions or reductions as much. Okay, now if they escape, I think the game counts. So we're gonna try to keep the vocabulary of the moves to something like 10Q or so. I'm gonna resist the urge to do fancier stuff, do technically confident stuff, and I'm not gonna do anything that requires a high level reading. So that'll be a little mini challenge for me. Let me just go ahead and make a move somewhere. Okay, they made this very loose formation here. I'll just finish with the rest of the talking, the setup. So we're gonna sometimes intentionally lose on this account, especially if we give the opponent chances on purpose and they pass the test, right? That'll be more ethical, so to speak, for these educational sandbagging videos, and also make it easier for us to get games by not having a perfect record. And yeah, we're gonna try to employ lots of Go principles for you guys. You're welcome to let me know in the comments and ask me about some more sophisticated moves I could have played, or more efficient things that were like more reading based or more fancy. Often it might be something I wanted to play, but just didn't let myself for the sake of our theme. Of course, we're gonna be ranking up, so as we go higher and higher level, to like 7, 8 dan in the end, then yeah, then we'll be able to play a little bit more, more high level. Right, so there's an invasion here, or this one, for white to play. Not a big deal, but we can think about that. There's this corner that we want to enclose. This is the empty side too, so this is definitely the big move. But we do want to think about whether we want to punish this really loose shape, especially before they do something to us. So one way is like you could invade here. If they resist, then we push and maybe knight's move or something. And we live inside. We do take a bit of damage by giving white a stone here to our base. But we can run around, so there's that. There's some other moves in here too that could be considered. The good thing is white also becomes kind of a weak group without a base. So we both become weak together, basically. Okay, let's do that. These moves are pretty simple, common ideas, I think. 3-3 and then push. Yeah, if white had if white had blocked here, we would have played Hane, and if they try to block, we would Atari. Okay, so there's a cut. We can't quite capture them immediately because they can win the Liberty fight. So we should probably Hane first. Hane is simpler than cutting. Cutting is going to require a lot of reading, so let's just Hane. Okay, they dare to play this one. Now it's time that we have to punish, because they're not really giving us enough space inside either. We would need a move over here somewhere and a move like this. We can't get both, so this kind of Atari, you should always play it anyway. Like even when you're planning to sacrifice this stone, like it's just a good, you cut and shrink white's liberties down, and you give them a stone in a spot that is not very efficient or helpful. So this is a cut that you should just play anyways, unless you're saving it for some kind of, let's say, a ko in there or something. Right, anyway, so what happens if we just Atari and then let's say block, right, or go down? There is this Atari white has here after that, but they don't have the ladder right now, do they? They do have the ladder. Oh, okay. Let's check it one more time. Yeah, they do have the ladder, actually. The white stones go along here. So that means that we can't just Atari and then call it a day. We have to actually, so probably this move. So the question is, if we play here, can white kill us? We do have almost an eye inside. So if white takes the stone, we counter Atari and we play here. White should be dead. If white plays monkey jump, we attach on top, white goes back, and then we make an eye over here. Yeah, one eye versus no eye, right? So it seems like this move might be enough. This cutting point doesn't matter, right? Not only we could ladder, but we could even just extend. Cut, extend. It's not like they can capture these. Okay, so things are looking pretty good. If we Atari, white might make a ko, which is fine for us, but what about extending? White can take a one stone, but we still have an eye, and then we can pop a stone in here. If white plays that one,
9, 8,
then white's dead and we live.
6, 5, 4, 3.
This seems to be the simplest move. Okay, this doesn't really make sense because this connect makes black alive. So white is just dead. We can also Atari first, but that lets them take one stone. And in this case, we don't have to give them anything.
9.
Yeah, that's not going to do much. So we can ladder. The question is, does white have a good ladder breaker? Not really. Yeah, or we can play this.
8, 7.
This is simple. It might be it might technically be a bit better to ladder, but I wanted to show you guys how, like, even if you didn't have the ladder, this would be totally fine. Now we just have to help these 4 stones here. Can we net? No, because after they do this, they'll cut like this. Sorry, this. So
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
just jump here, I guess. So the reason why this is alive is because when we block here and white Hane is there, it's true that this would be self-Atari for black. But if we play here, white plays here, we just connect, then white can't actually bring that stone back without self-Atarying. Of course, we also have this move. But
9, 8, 7.
this is better for the end game on the edge. Okay, that one we can just respond. No issue there. I might as well make an eye, I guess. We don't really need an eye, though. Yeah, I knew white might try this this fake Suji. Fake Suji! We have a lot of things we can do here, but
9, 8, 7, 6, 5.
just Atari. This Atari might not necessarily be an important exchange, but we are doing quite fine here. If we really wanted to, we could even double Hane. Because when they Atari and, let's say, extend, we can Atari and capture 3 stones. But,
9, 8, 7.
yeah, okay.
6.
Let's do that. If we were missing 1 liberty here, then this would be very dangerous because there would be like throw in, Atari, and we would die. But we have enough liberties here that we're okay. Push. White pushes. So they can lose stones here now anytime. I do want to push out once here to weaken this group.
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I guess if we're trying to follow the theme of simplicity, then I could have just done that and that. But this fighting is going to be pretty easy for black. Because still, yeah, we have this thing over here. Can I even Atari and push here? Seems like that actually works. And it avoids damaging this. We might as well Hane here, though, to threaten double Atari.
9,
1,
8,
2, 3.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Just to weaken that group. Even if we don't connect it now, right? This stone being here is a nuisance for white. So I think now... I mean, okay, fair enough. We could just play here. And it's quite horrible for white.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5.
We shouldn't get too stuck on the other plan, because this is looking very attractive. Okay, I'm just checking for throw-in stuff. So like this, throw-in, Atari, Atari. Yeah, but then they run out of liberties. I need to remind myself to keep the reading, you know, the amount of reading in check. For our theme. Yeah, it's happening exactly as I was talking about. So yeah, now we can just play one of these moves. I guess this one works. Slightly better endgame compared to this one.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay. So white doesn't have the ladder this time. Anyway, I'm gonna Hane. When your opponent has a shortage of liberties, it's good to Hane if you can. As you can see, white does not have a way to capture these two stones, especially with a stone here. So don't be afraid to play this. Just because you get cut doesn't mean it's a bad thing. It's more important for us to occupy that spot because it causes white a lot of liberty problems. Yeah, so white is threatening to Atari here and then ladder. But this ladder does work for white. It touches, but then they go down twice this way. Interesting. Okay. So we should respond.
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I'll play here for simplicity. I'm trying to resist my more complicated moves, but we could have Hane'd here. This is another case where you really want to Hane and give big problems to this instead of extending. Extending is fine, but anyway, we can clearly see that after black plays here, white, this one does not capture these because it's a broken ladder, even if it was a ladder, right? If the black stone is here and the white stone,
8,
it's going to get Atari'd, so
6, 5.
the ladder would break. Okay, so now we have an extra free push. Cool. Now we can fix this. We can also play over here. I wouldn't mind capturing this.
9, 8, 7, 6.
In case you're wondering about this group, that white in there doesn't have that many liberties. So for now, we're okay. So they Atari us, but they should have done it earlier to make us play here, because now we can actually play like this. This game is definitely over. Now that this thing has so many liberties, this cut is way less powerful now. Now we can just bully this white group. It would be very wrong direction to Atari this way, and helping them capture this, like going this way, and like black trying to only capture this is way too small. You can do way better than that. Don't make a tiny little thing here. You know, aim for the big stuff. Look how many forcing moves we're going to get here because we have helpers over there. We're threatening a really nasty Hane, so we could just keep pushing and pushing and threatening to make so much territory. Yeah, this game is definitely over. All this white here is dead. So how did that happen? Everything's going pretty normal. They played this one, which is a little bit too far. So we go in. They deny our pass, so we just try to live inside. But they just keep choosing the most extreme moves. Like instead of here, they Hane and leave a cut. And then while there's already a cut with danger to these three, which are surrounded by black, they even play this one, right? This is like very, very daring because now I have this Atari and white is dead. So I'm just doing what they tell me to do, basically, like except for the telling me to die. It's like, no, thanks. Right? And then just get more liberties and just live. I'm not even trying to capture white here, right? Just go out. I'm just doing what white tells me to do, basically. Like when white Hane is here, they're telling me to kill this. So I think the main takeaway for you guys, besides like try not to do some of the stuff that white was doing, which was very extreme judgments on me, like, you know, telling me to die when I don't deserve to die and stuff like that, right? So wrong expectations. But on a tactical level, I want you guys to think about this kind of situation where you Hane and you don't fear the cut. You Hane because they have an extremely bad liberty problem that you want to maintain and take advantage of. And as the proverb says, Hane the head of 2 or 3 stones blindly. I wouldn't say you should do it blindly. I think the process of thinking things through and taking your time is what can cultivate you long term, and it really adds up. A lot of these Fox players that I run into, especially during rank up, even when I start off with a 3-down account, a lot of times they don't think at all. They just instantly play their move. Sometimes they didn't even look at where I played. And then they wonder why they have like 6 dead groups. Like this is a very dangerous moment for black, right? So we can't just automatically play, but automatic moves are the enemy of improvement. So you also don't want to just automatically extend or automatically Atari, right? You want to always be pushing the envelope of like trying to evolve. That's how you keep getting better as a player. It's what you do during your games that really affects your improvement quite a bit, I would say. That's my experience of it. Many times I got very significant noticeable improvement from literally like 1 game or 2 games because of how thoughtful I was and how much time I spent on it. And then you can come to realizations because you're actually pondering things during the game. Like you play a stronger player and you ponder not just what to do and how you could find an even better move, etc., but you ponder like, why are they playing what they're playing? And like, why is the way they're playing better than the way I'm playing? And you have all these thoughts, and it leads to epiphanies that can be a sudden burst of improvement. This happened to me many times. Fun story. I'm not going to tell the full story actually, but let's do the spark notes here. I was in a tournament. I was like 1 or 2 down. The memory is getting more fuzzy. My opponent was 4 down, and I went to the washroom Like I was behind. I went to the washroom and I had an epiphany about the game and the kind of the moves while I was in there. I realized something about the way my opponent was playing. And I think obviously other things that were already in my mind days prior are part of the equation too, right? It wouldn't be an epiphany just from what's happening in this game. It's something that probably was already building up, right? And then when I came back and I was a stronger player and then I started to do pretty well. And the way that I thought about the game or about certain moves was permanently different, changed after that. So I had some experiences, most of them not quite so sudden like that, but yeah, most of my memorable improvement spurts were actually from playing games. And it's because I think so much and read so much when I play. And that actually takes care of some of your Tsumego quota as well, right? Your reading training and problem solving. Like that's the game. A real game is a perfect canvas for that. Right. So what I want you guys to take away on a technical level, we talked about what white shouldn't do, and we talked about some improvement related stuff. Again, on the technical level, try to think about this kind of move. Like this one, we have to make sure that they don't Atari and then ladder and have the ladder, right? That's what you have to think about with this. But otherwise you can, and this is way more harsh on the white stones. So this kind of like Hane move where you can get cut, but your opponent has a liberty shortage. How many times did we do that this game? I mean, this one as well counts, right? This double Hane, because right now, if we want to, we can Atari and capture. So it's just that we were thinking bigger, so we didn't do that. Because actually, if we just save that stone and just take care of this one, white is in shambles, actually. So we can actually go after these groups on a larger scale, not to mention this group. Okay. So yeah, that was the game. There was a bit of careful reading here. Maybe I could have dialed it up on the safety for you guys, like to make this more of a reproducible example. I know that some stuff around here might have gotten a little bit scary for some people if it wasn't as clear. So maybe next time I'll try to be like even more safe. I don't encourage playing Go for a focus on safety, by the way. You should work top down instead of bottom up. Like you should think of the best algorithm, not to mention pressuring your opponent and staying in line with the objective of the game, is to work top down, is to think about the most appealing and profitable things first, and then check if you can do those and then work your way down. It's also just it's way more powerful to play like that, and it's way simpler too. And that's how higher level players play. People get stuck sometimes because they're too defensive and humble with their moves, and they stay that way, and they don't try to evolve enough, and then they follow a wrong algorithm for selecting their moves. You shouldn't think, this is like my opinion, you shouldn't think about safety first or weak groups first, because you could just as easily think about your opponent's weak groups, and that's the other side of the same coin, only it has extra advantages. So I really see no reason why checking our weak groups should be the first thought when we look at a board. Because why couldn't it be your opponent's weak groups, right? I can think of every reason you could say to check your own. You could just flip it back on the opponent's groups. But there's things about checking your opponent's weaknesses, which the opposite doesn't have, which is that it's more in line with getting the most points and winning the game. It also psychologically pressures your opponent and has the ability to put them on defense mode. And when your opponent is on defense mode, in defense mode, it's like amazing for you, especially if they're in defense mode psychologically. Then they're on the way to losing the game. And it's just the wrong order of operations, like you're window shopping, or so to speak. Then you see what you want, and then you check if you can get it, right? Or you think, how can I get it? Right? You need to know what you want first. That way you know what you want to get to. Even if you do end up defending or doing some humbler thing on the board, you still have it in your mind now, like what does black and white want to get to on the board? Like what do the two players want? Like you should always be thinking about that. That's Go is not about surviving, like making all your groups alive. It's not about that at all. That's why pros and high level Dan players die a lot, just like Q players do. We don't stop dying just because the skill level goes higher. It's not Go. Go is not about avoiding dying with your groups. Okay. Yeah, so comments if anything was, you know, really helpful for you, or, you know, enlightening, or gave you some new ideas, some motivations, maybe a different way to study. You can ask questions too, and I'll respond to everything. So I'll see you guys in the next one.